Time where echoes of terror and despair painted a vastly different picture of the Pearl of Africa. The year was 1971. A brash and intimidating figure, Idi Amin, staged a coup and ascended the throne of Uganda's leadership. Over the next 8 years, his rule would witness a reign of terror, bloodshed, and cruelty that would stain the nation's history forever. From mass purges to ethnic persecutions, Amin's reign became synonymous with unspeakable horror. This was a period where thousands vanished, many never to be found, and when entire communities lived under the shadow of an unpredictable tyrant. But how did a nation with such rich culture and history fall under the grip of such a brutal dictator? In today's deep dive, we'll unravel the disturbing past of Uganda and shed light on the stories that have remained untold. Welcome to Pastflix. Mass killings. As the sun set over the majestic landscapes of Uganda in the 1970s, a more sinister darkness began to rise, casting its harrowing shade on the people and their freedoms. To truly grasp the magnitude of the terror that gripped the nation under Amin's dictatorship, we need to peel back the layers of these atrocities and gaze into their very core. The International Commission of Jurists arrived at a harrowing conclusion, estimating that Amin's reign of terror resulted in the deaths of between 80,000 and 300,000 souls. Yet this might just be the tip of the iceberg. Exile organizations backed by the meticulous research of Amnesty International suggest that the death toll might have soared to a staggering 500,000, a chilling figure when one considers that this represents a significant portion of the 12 million Ugandans of that era. To put this into perspective, imagine the entire population of a city like Miami simply vanishing. The grounds of Uganda became an unwilling witness to these heinous acts, with death becoming an all too frequent visitor. While the wind whispered tales of unity across Uganda's vast plains, Amin's regime sang a different, divisive tune. The Acholi and Longo ethnic groups, with their rich histories and vibrant cultures, found themselves in the crosshairs of targeted persecution. They were singled out, hunted, and obliterated with chilling precision, turning their ancestral lands into haunting grounds of memories. Dissent, a natural voice in any democracy, became the siren song for death in Amin's Uganda. Those brave enough to voice opposition or even harbor contrasting thoughts were met with a fate worse than death. The dungeons and prisons echoed with tales of torture, of brave men and women who endured unthinkable agony, only to be silenced forever. While the true extent of the lives taken under Amin's rule remains shrouded in the mists of time and conflicting reports, one undeniable truth emerges: a haunting legacy of ruthless bloodshed and economic devastation. This shadow, cast long and dark, persists, its echoes felt in the very fabric of the nation even today, manifesting in varying degrees of intensity. Uganda's fractured soul. As if the weight of these horrifying acts wasn't enough to shatter the spirit of Uganda, the storm of Amin's reign had other tempests waiting in its wings. Beneath the cloak of political purging, a deeper, more insidious agenda was brewing, targeting the very fabric of Uganda's diverse society. 1972, a year that is etched into the memories of the Asian diaspora in Uganda. Like a hurricane ripping through a serene town, Amin's decree expelled around 80,000 Asians, primarily those of Indian and Pakistani descent, from the lands they had called home for generations. Overnight, thriving businesses, legacy properties, and lifetimes of memories were snatched away, turning prosperous entrepreneurs into destitute refugees. The streets, once bustling with the vibrant culture of this Asian community, bore a haunting silence. In a society where knowledge is power, intellectuals, professionals, and students are the torchbearers of enlightenment. But in Amin's Uganda, they were the targets. Universities, once sanctuaries of learning, transformed into dangerous grounds. Professors, students, and professionals, the very minds that could challenge Amin's narrative, were hunted down, silenced, and in many cases, vanished without a trace. Uganda, with its rich tapestry of faiths, saw this mosaic tarnished under Amin's rule. Christians and animists, pillars of spirituality and community, faced the brunt of Amin's malevolent policies, discriminated against, oppressed, and in numerous instances martyred for their beliefs. These groups bore the heavy cross of religious intolerance. It's a grim reality to grasp. While the physical borders of Uganda remained intact, the social and spiritual boundaries of its people were being ruthlessly redrawn. And as we'll soon discover, the aftershocks of these policies reverberated far beyond Uganda's shores. Military might and media manipulation. The backbone of Amin's reign of terror was the military. Soldiers, instead of being protectors of the realm, were transformed into harbingers of dread. Reports from the era detail how the military's presence was ubiquitous, from arbitrary checkpoints to sudden raids. Their power was unchecked, their actions unquestioned, leading to a chilling culture of impunity. The notorious State Research Bureau, a secret police force, became emblematic of this fear, with tales of their torture chambers like Nakasero becoming stuff of whispered nightmares in Ugandan households. However, Amin didn't just rely on brute force. He masterfully harnessed the power of media, the state-controlled outlets becoming his personal mouthpieces. Radios and newspapers, instead of being sources of unbiased information, echoed Amin's distorted narratives. The Ugandan public was constantly fed an image of Amin as the omnipotent and omnipresent leader. Stories would circulate, sometimes likely seeded by the regime itself, of Amin's supposed supernatural abilities or feats, further deepening the aura of fear around him. In tandem, these strategies painted a picture of a nation held hostage, not just by a dictator, but by the omnipresent shadow of fear that he cast. From border breaches to hijack havens. While the internal dynamics of Uganda under Amin's rule were marked by chaos and suppression, his audacity didn't stop at the borders of his own country. His actions spilled over, leading to direct confrontations with the international community and blatant violations of established global norms. 1978 will always be remembered as the year that marked the beginning of the end for Amin's rule. In a bold and brash move, Amin's forces crossed borders and invaded neighboring Tanzania. This wasn't just a territorial squabble, it was a direct affront to international laws and norms. The Tanzanian forces, under the leadership of President Julius Nyerere, retaliated. What followed was a war that culminated in Amin's forces being pushed back, eventually leading to his own overthrow and exile in 1979. The invasion was a blatant violation of the principles of territorial sovereignty and the peaceful coexistence of nations. Further cementing his reputation as a rogue leader, Amin found himself embroiled in a series of international incidents, airplane hijackings. Perhaps the most infamous of these was the 1976 Air France hijacking. A plane en route from Tel Aviv to Paris was seized by two members of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine External Operations and two members of the German Revolutionary Cells. The plane with its hostages was redirected to Entebbe, Uganda. Amin's involvement was clear, as he was seen visiting the hostages and even claiming to advocate on their behalf, all while collaborating with the hijackers. This incident culminated in a daring rescue mission by the Israeli Defense Forces, further highlighting the international implications of Amin's actions. In his relentless pursuit of power and dominance, Amin not only flouted the laws of his land, but also those that bound nations together. As we continue our journey, we'll uncover the global efforts to hold him accountable for these transgressions. This is Pastflix, and we'll see you next time.